Hello, good afternoon, almost evening, January 2nd. This is Kelly from Kelly's Coffee and Crime Chat, as I am still fighting, of course, this horrible virus. But I thought I would go on here and do episode 2 of Kelly's Coffee and Movie Chat. So thank you, welcome. I had Java Mama Cocoa Mint to Be hot tea earlier, and it's with the peppermint leaves and the cocoa, and it is so good, and it's got caffeine in it. It's actually a very good dessert tea, plus one to wake up to. It tasted really good this morning. I'm now drinking, get this, Swiss Miss hot cocoa with Bailey's Irish cream. Oh my gosh, it is so good. My mom got me a bottle of Bailey's with a cup, and it had just instructions on there to enjoy it with hot cocoa. I'm like, I don't think I've ever done that. So here we go. All right, I am going to talk about a movie that was out in 2003. And it is kind of a true crime film. And I'm talking about Wonderland. And the reason why I'm talking about this, because I am going to possibly, hopefully this month, feature this true story on my Patreon for Kelly's Coffee and Crime Chat. So I wanted to talk about the movie on here. Just a minute. I've got to get a drink of this wonderful hot cocoa. Oh my gosh, it's so good. I normally drink Java Mama hot cocoa because it is like really gourmet hot cocoa, but I had some Swiss Miss, so. Okay. Wonderland is a film. Was out in 2003, directed by James Cox, and co-written by James Cox. And the Wonderland murders occurred in 1981. Now, this movie stars Val Kilmer as the old porn star John Holmes, and Dylan McDermott, Kate Bosworth, Carrie Fisher, Lisa Kudrow, Josh Lucas from Sweet Home Alabama, among many other films. Tim Blake Nelson, Christina Applegate. Janine Garofalo. There's a lot of people in this movie. I, myself, like this movie because of it being about true crime. Some people did not. Because what this is, I'm going to talk about the crime in a minute, but the movie has the character of John Holmes, which is Val Kilmer, and Dylan McDermott, who plays David Lind, who is a guy who was not there the night that the murders were carried out, but was staying at the place with his girlfriend. His girlfriend was one of the victims. And that's what's sad. She was just there. She was sleeping on the couch. And she ended up getting killed for just being there. It's so horrible. This whole crime is horrible. So what the movie has is David Lind is telling the detectives the true story, in my opinion. John Holmes is telling the detectives his version of the story to save his ass. And I'm telling you, David Lind is the one, and I've got this actually straight from the detectives' mouths on the MGM Plus documentary, which is excellent. And that is on MGM Plus. You can get it on there. I've already got MGM Plus on Dish Network. But according to the detectives on there, David Lind was the one telling the truth, and that is played by Dylan McDermott. So if you have seen this movie or you're going to see it, pay attention to his version of the story rather than John Holmes' version, because when you're watching it, you're hearing both sides. So they do present both sides of the story in these murders. John Holmes was in with all these people who, of course, he was into cocaine. And the big supplier, Eddie Nash, was the one that he got his supply from. He set up a robbery of the Wonderland gang. These are the people who he hung around, and it was their names are Ron Lanius and his wife Susan, Billy Deverell, and he has a girlfriend named Barbara Richardson, and Barbara Richardson owns this townhouse. I found out from her story, the real story, that she divorced a big Beverly Hills lawyer and was hooked on drugs, and she had this townhouse. And I'm thinking she got this townhouse in the divorce because these people never worked. Okay, they never worked. They had, that I know of anyway. David Lind and his girlfriend showed up in LA and was staying with them. The girlfriend was Barbara Richardson, excuse me. The Joy Miller was the one that owned the townhouse and got the divorce from the Beverly Hills lawyer. Excuse me. Sorry about clearing my throat and coughing. So he set up, the film shows at the very beginning, he's with his girlfriend. Her name is Dawn, played by Kate Bosworth, and that's actually another true story. Dawn, the real life Dawn, actually has a book on her relationship with John Holmes on and off. And he's also still married. His wife is played by Lisa Kudrow in the movie. So he's still married, but he is, of course, not at home with his wife. He's out with doing drugs, and this is after his film career. So it's like post John Holmes porn star film career. And he sets up the Wonderland gang to go in and rob Eddie Nash. Now, Eddie Nash is a big-time gangster in LA. He supplies a lot of famous people with cocaine. And he's got a lot of powerful connections. He has a big guy who is his bodyguard. And he gives John Holmes... Now, this is what the movie has. I'm going by the movie here. Ron Lanius, who is like the head of the Wonderland gang, has a fondness for antique guns. And he's always showing off his own antique guns. And then he learns that John Holmes knows about Eddie Nash. But he doesn't tell him Eddie Nash's name. Okay, he just says he knows somebody. And so he gives John Holmes a pair of stolen antique guns to take to Johnny Nash. I said Johnny Nash. He's a singer, sorry. He gives these stolen antique guns that he has, Ron Lanius, and take them to Eddie Nash. So he can fence them. And the Wonderland gang can, split the money. So Holmes takes the guns to Nash, but Nash says that the guns are too rare to be sold and they would not be recognized right away and anyone involved would be apprehended, blah, blah, blah. No, this is not good. I am not going to sell these. So Nash keeps them for himself, though. He doesn't give the guns back. So, attempting to get back into the gang's good graces, John Holmes suggests go back to rob Eddie Nash. I keep saying Johnny Nash on accident. I'm so sorry. Excuse me. So, he goes back to rob. So, he sets up what he does. This is what John Holmes, I'm getting names mixed up, sorry. John Holmes takes the Wonderland gang. He does not go, but he has them go rob Eddie Nash to get the guns back. So when they go in to rob him, they got their face covered and they're like, "We need your money." Holmes tells them about money in a safe. So they get his money. They get pounds of cocaine. They don't realize it's Eddie Nash they're robbing until partway through. And I think somebody, I thought either said his name. I'm not sure, but excuse me. So they had a guy sitting outside in the getaway car. So they go rob him, take everything, go back. Find out it's Eddie Nash that they robbed. And then they're like, okay, we got to lay low. Let's be quiet about this. And, so this happened. I'm trying to remember exactly what date the robbery happened, because it wasn't very many days later that Eddie Nash decides to retaliate. Now, remember, John Holmes was not there at the robbery, so it shows how Eddie Nash and John Holmes' relationship is in the movie. It tells about how he prostitutes his girlfriend, Kate Bosworth, played by Kate Bosworth, to Eddie Nash to get money, so he can pay her, and then he'll get money for his drug problem. It really shows the